Welcome to RetroLogic. I'm Dan Caporello here with John Cummins and Sam Wagers, and we've got a good old classic episode of RetroLogic here for you. No guests, no fluff, no weirdness. Well, no normal weirdness and normal weirdness that we bring. But we are all stiffly in coffee, so you're going to have to just excuse any random muting that happens so that we can not cough in your ear. But we're here. Here we are, guys. How are you guys doing? What's happening in the lives of my two favorite hostesses? Yeah, like hostess Twinkies. Yeah. Is that hostess or is that Little Debbie?
Twinkies is hostess.
Yeah.
Hostess.
Yeah, gotta be hostess.
Did hostess go out at one time? And then somebody brought Twinkies back? I can't remember.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That did happen. And then they got
snack cake.
They got bought out. Yeah. Snack Logic.
Snack Logic here.
Snack Logic isn't just a podcast. It's also a store. You can visit retrologic.games and check out our inventory of retro games, fair trade fabric t-shirts, holographic stickers. You can join our 100% non-toxic Discord community for even more fun. So go do all of that. This week on RetroLogic, we're going to be chatting about adult content video games. So after we do Price is Retro, if you've got little ears around, you might want to spare them from the episode. We're not going to be cussing up a storm or anything, but we're going to be talking about some adult themes, mildly adult themes, and we just want to make sure that you are aware that that's going to be happening this episode. So thanks for listening. If you're an adult, if you're not an adult, go listen to something else, maybe.
Yeah. Now we need a RetroLogic Twinkie sticker. We'll have to have somebody design us up one to.
That's what I do.
To make.
All right. So it'll have the RetroLogic logo, but it'll say Snack Logic on it.
Yes.
That's right. That's what's up. So just a bit of housekeeping first. You probably are already aware of this, but I'm just making it official. We're taking a little break from Retro Rewind at the moment. Just got to rework some things, and it will return in 2022. In the meantime, get prepped because January is going to be ODAMA-RAMA. That means everybody who can pick up a copy of ODAMA for the GameCube and a GameCube microphone. And we're going to start playing it in January. So just make sure you have your copies ready. Sam's got this like evil smirk on his face right now. Like, I played this game and now you're all going to have to suffer through it.
I love how this is like a classic example of Nintendo saying, hey, this is how the only way we're going to allow you to play this game is the microphone.
Well, yeah, like they could re-release it because like everything has a microphone now. Although, does the Switch have a microphone?
No.
It doesn't.
No, they could have re-released it on the 3DS. Well, ultimately, if you wanted to remake the game from the ground up, you could probably just map the voice commands to a radial menu. Unless I'm mistaken, there's only about like a dozen of them. So you could just have like hold down Z and select a command from a radial menu. It would work. It wouldn't be the same, but it would work.
What do you use the C stick for?
The C stick. No, I think the control stick, the standard analog stick, is how you tilt. So I'm not sure.
Well, that's a little bit. That's a little bit into the weeds. I just wanted to say to make sure you buy it with a microphone.
That's what we do.
At any rate, yeah, it does require the GameCube microphone, which is not an expensive peripheral.
No, none of it's expensive.
And it will work on a Wii as well.
I bet you could walk out the door spending
plugs into
$25.
It plugs into a GameCube memory card port, so you can actually use that on a Wii if you have a backwards compatible Wii as well. And
then there are methods of attaching your microphone to your controller using a rubber band that I've seen. Very effective. So you don't have to spend. I think the little plastic piece that Nintendo made to attach the microphone to your GameCube controller is now in the like hundreds of dollars range.
Yeah, that's the expensive thing here.
So just use.
I mean, I just palm the microphone and hold it in the same hand I hold the controller.
That too.
That also works.
That too. Rubber band or 3D print something. You know, make up your own thing. Anywho, go pick up a copy. I bet you could walk out the door with both a microphone and Odama for $20-$25. I bet if you look around, you can find it. Until after ODAMA-RAMA, then it's going to be like a $60 GameCube game. So just watch out. So guys, what have you been up to the last? I've been missing you guys. I missed you last week because last week I sounded like this, which is why I was not on. And then this week we were supposed to have Adam back because he also couldn't do last week, but he is moving this week, and so he had a lack of time. So next week we will be doing our big collecting episode, and I've got some pretty cool episodes lined up for the rest of the month. But anywho, what have you guys been playing this week? Sam, what about you? What have you been playing? What have you been buying this week?
Yeah, I haven't picked up anything new, but I have been playing some stuff. I did start Front Mission Gun Hazard. I got that game working after messing around a little bit, managed to offload the ROM from my cartridge and use the translation patch.
What system is that?
Super Nintendo, Super Famicom,
I
should say, since it is a game that did not release in North America. So I got the translation patch. That does seem to be working. I did encounter a brief... It's probably just it could be an issue with offloading. It could be an issue with applying the patch. Encountered a single line of dialogue that was like messed up. Like everything was spaced weird in the text, and it was like cut off from the actual text window. But then I kept playing, and that was just one case. So I hope it's not like a huge deal, but really enjoying that game. That is the spin-off. Front Mission has a couple spin-offs. There's like an RTS spin-off on the PlayStation as well. Most of the games are turn-based strategy. But this one is like a side-scrolling action shooter. Plays a lot like Cybernator. That's actually made by the same team that made Cybernator.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
But it does still have a lot of like RPG elements too. So you can actually revisit areas to just hunt down more enemies, which will get you more money and experience points, which is nice. So far the game isn't actually all that hard, but it's still fun. Yeah, enjoying that a lot.
One of my favorite things is when you wrap RPG elements into platformers. I think that's so cool when that happens.
Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. It's one of the reasons I like the Metroid style Castlevania games a lot, because they do that as well. It can kind of wreck a difficulty curve sometimes, but there's other things you can do to make the game stay interesting.
Right.
So I think I'll like that game a whole lot, but I haven't gotten very far in it yet. The other thing is Megaman X2. I just really have had the hankering for more and more Megaman X, and since I'd played the first game so many times, I was like, I'll just play X2. I'll sit down and play X2. And I actually managed to beat the game and get every item without ever backtracking, which is the first time I've successfully done that. I came close once. Doing so involves using several different tricks, and at least one thing I would say is just straight up exploiting a glitch. But I know I did that part. I did the hard part of it successfully, and then I just kind of like picked the wrong stage order and couldn't get everything. So this is the first time I managed to do it 100%. You actually can't do that in the first X game. It's always something that bothered me, is because I've experimented extensively with different stage orders, but there is like a mutually exclusive in the first game, just between Chill Penguin and Flame Mammoth stage. You can't get everything in either stage until you've beaten the other one. But in X2, it's kind of designed that way, but there are some clever ways around several items. So like Bubble Crab is one of the hardest. That's where you have to exploit this glitch where the game lets you jump higher if you're standing on a slope moving down. And it allows you to reach something you shouldn't be able to until you've already beaten the stage and gotten Bubble Crab's weapon. But I was able to do it. So that was interesting.
Did you do that on stream?
No, I didn't stream that. That was just me playing. I probably will stream Megaman X. I'll probably actually play X2. It's kind of like the first time I ever streamed, I played Megaman X on Christmas Eve. I would love to do that again this year. So Stay tuned for that.
The tradition.
And I may make it X2 this year, just in keeping with a progression across that.
Sweet.
The game I did play on stream was more Silhouette Mirage, and I have not come back to that yet, and I need to figure out what was up because I had some issues with that game, like in function. So I'm going to try wiping my save from the memory card. I think something got corrupted because I restarted the game just because I got to a dead end point where I'd run out of lives, and the game saves, but it doesn't give you any extra lives. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start over. Like, the game gives you 10 extra lives and that's it. And you get one save slot. So it's a little bit like I kind of just worked myself into a corner here.
Crazy. Because
now I have no lives left and I have 2 stages to go. So I started over, and this was on stream, and fighting the first boss, the whole game started to slow down and the background music cut out. And I'm like, this is really weird. This shouldn't be happening. So I finished the boss, and then the loading screen for the next stage just never ended. And then I tried reloading from a previous save and just kept, every time I hit a loading screen, it would just... Because, I mean, it is a PS1 game. The load times can be like a couple minutes. Evidently, the game just does have a lot of bugs. It was kind of a rush job to port it from the Saturn. And stuff like this isn't too unusual, but I don't know why it would persist after resetting the system. So my best guess is maybe something's up with the save file now, and I just need to wipe the save from the memory card and start over, which I'm not even that far because I was still back at stage 1 anyway. So
presumably, does the Saturn version not have those bugs?
At least some of them, yeah. But I like I said, this is very weird. I don't know how common. I had somebody on stream that popped by and they're like, yeah, the PlayStation version has some issues. And I'm like, okay, that makes some sense to me. I know it's not the original. Dang. So
alrighty. So that's all from you this week, Sam?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, sweet. John, hit me, dude. What's going on?
Well, I finally found a copy of Recore for Xbox One.
Hey.
For reasonably $4, which is where it should be. My local's trying to sell this thing for $20 everywhere. I also got it's the definitive edition, so it actually is worth $20, which I didn't know exist whenever I bought it. I just thought I was getting regular Recore.
Ooh, the collector's edition is $50, $60.
Nice. Yeah, no, mine just has all the extra content already on the disc.
Oh, sweet.
So if you're going to buy one and you want to play Recore, go ahead and just get the definitive edition, which I think is the one that you get on Game Pass. Let's see. I also bought Sudeki for Xbox and Spectral Force Genesis for the DS, which is kind of a weird DS RTS.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I came across it, and I'm like a sucker for if I come across the game that it looks interesting, but I never heard anything about it. I'll look it up and see what it's about, and most of the time I'll buy it. And that's all the retro stuff that I found over the last week. But I bought a bunch of Black Friday deal games. I got Shin Megami Tensei 3 for the Switch finally.
Nice.
Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. I bought Biomutant for the PS4 and Ghost of Tsushima for the PS4. This is the time of year where I wait for everything to fall down to like $15-$20 and I just go buy it all.
Right.
Like, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week or not, but I bought Tony Hawk 1 and 2 for $20 for the Switch.
Nice.
Kind of waiting for those to go on sale. As far as what I played, I finally finished the Outer Worlds and loved it. It was awesome. I don't know how many different endings there are in the game. I probably got the most common ending. Kind of just played the good guy for most of the way through.
One of the things I did like about the end of that game is you can actually like pretty much completely circumvent most of the end of the game with if you have maxed out skills in some things. Like, yeah. I remember I snuck through most of the I was able to like fool people through all the way up to the final boss just with like persuasion checks and science checks and stuff.
Yeah definitely. If you have your if you don't max out any of your combat skills and you strictly do the communication skills, I guess, like persuade, lie, and if you max out your engineering or lock picking to where you don't have to get key cards from anybody, you can just open any door in the in the game if it's maxed out. Makes things a lot easier.
The game's like not afraid to just let you like sequence break stuff, which is kind of fun
totally
in a lot
break
of ways.
Yeah, that's great. It's very.
There was
Fallout.
a few times towards the end where like there's one of the main combat sequences that's going on in a prison, and I totally shot one of the people that were helping us on accident, like the opposite group. So then I basically just had to kill everybody that was in the room. Just kind of, I was like, wow, this turned into a slaughter really fast. Like, because I made it to a certain point and I was all good, and then I got into an area where my people that were the NPCs that were helping me, they aggroed way too many enemies at once, and I just got handed. So I restarted the mission, and that's whenever I walked out of my ship into the prison, and I tried to shoot at somebody, and I shot the opposite people, and then it just made it to where everybody was coming after us, and I had to clean the whole place out. So it's one of those games that's fun like that. So
just it breaks itself.
Oh yeah. No, it's just like Fallout where you have factions. Different people will help you if you do things for them, and you get your status really high with them, and then you shoot them and they'll turn on you in an instant.
You're making me want to play it. I miss Fallout so much.
It's fun, and I think the thing that I like the most about it is it's not long. Like, it's a good Fallout experience, and you can pretty much experience the original content, none of the DLC, in like a 15-hour span. And that's like doing quite a few side missions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty quick. It was fun.
Nice.
I might at some point, being that it doesn't take very long to play, go back and just play the absolute worst character you can play and just like kill everyone and see what happens. Because I think when I ended, I was allied with like everybody except for I think it was like MSI group or whatever. Those are the ones I shot on accident, but everyone else I was allied with. So it even said I was allied with the board somehow, which I don't even know what I did to get that, but it was weird. But yeah, I need to replay that one again at some point. It's fun.
Nice.
And I started up Pokemon. I got Brilliant Diamond, and my son has Pearl. So he's a lot further than I am because I chose to play Outer Worlds instead of Pokemon, which is to me is the better choice.
Is he like upset with you? Like, I want to trade, but you're not even,
Actually, yeah, he was. I can't. We were like 2 days into the holiday break, and he's like, "You need to hurry up and get to a point where we can trade because I want my Alakazam." And I was like, "You're gonna have to wait, man, because I'm not trade. Like when we get trade, I want to have my guy ready so that I can get Alakazam." But yeah, no, he's all excited. He's probably over halfway through the game now. He just started not too long ago.
Man.
So he's going right through it.
Oh, to be a kid and have just time sitting there waiting. Nothing to do.
Yeah, he's been just playing that and Halo Infinite, the multiplayer.
Oh, sweet. Is he enjoying that?
Yeah, he says it's good.
Yeah. Sweet.
So what have you got?
All right. Well, not too much this week. So I canceled my subscription to the Video Game History Foundation vintage magazine subscription thing. It was fine. Like I got some cool stuff, but $20 a month for what I was getting.
How many issues do you get a month?
Just one. And like,
$20?
if it was a Nintendo Power every month, then I probably would have kept it. But I think I had it for 6 months, and it was all either tips and tricks or Game Pro. And most of it was about stuff I don't really care about. And like, I don't expect them to cater it to me, but I don't know. If it was cheaper, I probably would have just kept it and forgot about it and be surprised every month. But $20 a month to me is not chump change right now. So I need to, I canceled it. But my last issue was Nintendo Power. So that was cool. I got issue 29. It's got Star Trek on the cover, and it goes into F-Zero and Metroid or Metroid 2, I think, for the Game Boy. Or maybe it's Metroid for the NES. Anyway, whatever. I'm not looking at it right now. But so that was cool. That was a nice surprise to end it out. If they drop the price or if they change it, maybe I'll re-up. But for now, I'm
does that include shipping?
That's with shipping. Yeah, it's about $20 with shipping. Yeah,
that seems about right.
I guess. But I mean, a lot. I was doing it because like I wanted to support them. So like the magazine was kind of a bonus, but that's a bit expensive for just that. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe I could see like 15 would be.
Yeah, like if it was 10 or 15 and it included shipping in that, like if it was 10 but I had to pay for shipping or something, that'd be fine. But 20 is just a threshold I'm not there to pay right now. The only like Black Friday thing I did was I got the Grandia Collection digitally on the eShop. Grandia 2 is like my favorite RPG of all time, maybe. So I had to own it somehow, and I don't want to pay the physical Switch prices, so I own it there. I own it on the Dreamcast too, which is like the best way to play it. So I kind of didn't feel like I needed to own it physically twice. I'm okay having the digital version on the Switch to play when I wanted to play there, and then having it on Dreamcast is nice. And then for what I played this week, so I'm going to be a guest on the MageCast podcast this week with
nice.
Shout out to Well-Read Mage, who's in our Discord, also has his own little content creation corner of the internet that he's promoting, so go check him out. And
he's on Twitch all the time too. Yeah,
he streams a lot. He's great. Really great guy. Super cool creator. Huge fan of everything he does. So I'm going to be on an episode of his podcast this week talking about Star Fox. So I'm playing through Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, playing it on NSO just because I want to be able to get through it quick. And I find that game is way more playable with a control stick than with a D-pad. I played it for years with a D-pad, and I feel like I've earned my right to play it how I want now. So with rewind and with the control stick. So
I mean, you're basically just making it Star Fox 64 with the stick.
It still has quite a bit of slowdown and frame rate drop here and there. But
I was talking about how it controls.
Right. Yeah, even the controls are still kind of laggy. It doesn't play amazingly, but it is better with a joystick, and it's still a really, like, I enjoy it. So It is what it is. I beat the easy levels. I'm going to go do the medium and the hard levels before Thursday when we record. Hopefully I can get through all that. It doesn't take long to beat, 30, 45 minutes in and out to get through one path.
You should play with the N64 controller.
Oh, is that compatible with the Super Nintendo app? I might be.
It ought to be.
Yeah, I don't know why not.
I don't see why not. But the controls might be weird because it's ABXY controls. Which actually, I like the Super Nintendo controls better than the 64 controls because, like, X, which is the top button, is boost, and B, which is the bottom button, is brake. And that just makes more sense than what they did with the C buttons. So, anyway...
I guess you don't have an X and Y, so it might... I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe probably map them to like left C, down C.
Yeah, something like that. I don't really remember specifically.
That might not be too bad.
But I don't know. I'll probably just play through it on portable because that's what I did and it's fine. Easy. I have been playing a lot more Skyward Sword. I kind of took a break when Dread came out and then destroyed that game, and now I'm back on Skyward Sword. And I just love this game. It's such a good Zelda game. And like it gets a lot of hate for some reason. Now that I'm playing it again, like I suppose it probably is harder to play on the actual Wii, but the Switch version is easily the definitive version. Handheld controls work just fine. I've been playing it for 20 hours and it's like second nature now. So I don't know. I'm having a great time. I'm in the second round Fire Temple, where you have to get the Sacred Flame. And I really enjoy the puzzles. I'm really enjoying, like there's a lot of retrekking the same ground in that game, which I think bothered me originally, but it bothers me less now. And I don't know if it's because like I kind of already know what to do, or if I just appreciate it more, or maybe it's just more playable on the Switch. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I'm having a great time with it. And the amiibo is beautiful. Still. And then last but not least, I've been doing a lot of work in the garage. The Dan Cave 2.0 is, I'm here now recording here, so it's like technically alive, but it's kind of, we're like getting the engine started. Like things are moving in the right direction. I haven't brought any of the collection out here yet. I will do that once I move some boxes around, but things are where they're going to stay. So I have shelves behind me, have a big TV over there. Things are working. So that's me this week. And let's jump into some Prices Retro. So if this is your first time playing Prices Retro, here's how we play. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games. You're going to guess how much the games are worth in total, dollars and cents. Whoever's closest out of all of us to guessing the price wins that lot. And then we all have a list to say, and we're all going to guess each list. And then whoever's the closest by dollar amount wins. We also keep track of who won the most rounds, and we keep track of the ghost, our poltergeist, who always guesses 300 on each lot. So that's how we play. Hopefully that made sense. We're going to burn through this list. I've got a bunch of guests, and then I have a couple spot the fakes. So we've got some games to play, you guys. This week I have 2 guest lists for Prices Retro. And first up, let's go ahead and do John.
All right. The first game on my list is Spectral Force Genesis, complete in box for the DS. The second game is Fighting Force for the 64, complete in box. The third game is Jet Force Gemini for the 64, complete in box. And the last game is Shining Force for the Sega Genesis, complete in box.
Ooh. That last one. So
it's all about the force.
Yeah. I've got a number here. I'm going to go 340.
Well, I was going to go 350, so I'm a little bit more confident now.
Hey.
Alrighty. So the total of my lot is $254.28.
Oh man, by a hair. I thought Shining Force would be more than that.
It's up there. Spectral Force Genesis for the DS completes only $13.15.
Oh, well, there's that.
Fighting, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Some of these might be lower than you thought. Fighting Force 64 complete in box is $63.66. Jet Force Gemini for the 64 complete in box is $66.78. And Shining Force for the Sega Genesis complete is $110.69.
Yeah, I had it at like 200.
And that puts, let's see.
I won the round. Well, actually, the Ghost won the round.
No, well,
Poltergeist won the round.
Yeah, the Ghost did win the round.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Bummer, dude. All right, Sam, what you got for me?
All right, pretty straightforward list with a little bit of a literally dinosaurs theme for you. I've got Joe and Mac for the Super Nintendo, loose. Joe and Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics for the Super Nintendo, loose. Big Nose the Caveman for the NES, loose.
No, I don't know what that is. What is Big Nose the Caveman?
It's Big Nose the Caveman.
I almost bought Chuck Rock the other day.
What's Chuck Rock for?
Chuck Rock for the Super Nintendo, loose.
It's another platformer.
Gosh,
let's see.
John, you've got the first guess this round.
Let me take 400.
You've got it. You can have it. You take that 400. I'm going to say 350. 350.
The total is $149.21.
What? Really?
Yep. These are all loose.
I thought Joe and Mac
149 and what?
So Joe and Mac is $21.20.
Yeah.
Joe and Mac 2 is $99.99.
Yeah.
That's the most expensive one. Big Nose the Caveman is $17.48 and Chuck Rock is $11.24.
I thought since I'd never heard of Big Nose that it was going to be way higher than that.
Yeah, I thought that Joe and Mac 2 is more than that loose.
Man, guys, this might be the first episode where the Poltergeist takes it because we are not doing well.
Yeah, right now he's
we've got some more rounds to go.
Yeah. All right. My turn here. I don't know if you'll be able to guess this theme. We'll see. We'll see if you can guess it. Mario Kart 64 for the N64, complete in box. Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance, complete in box. Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube, complete in box. And Mario Kart Wii for the Wii, complete in box. Mario Kart 64.
What was the third one?
Super Circuit, Double Dash, and Mario Kart Wii. How do you guys do this without taking notes? That's my question.
Honestly, I usually am not adding up exact values for everyone. I just kind of keep a running total every time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll bring it up to this much.
You guys can do math in your head. That's the secret. I can't seem to do that.
I'm going to
say
say
it's my turn to guess first.
Oh, well, I already did.
I was going to guess 275. So
275 for Sam. John, what's yours?
Yep.
250.
Well, the actual retail price is $250, $252.95. Wow. John, you that's super close, bro. That's like $3 off.
We'll see how close I was on the
I actually feel good about how close I was.
Yeah.
John's just that good.
Yeah. Mario Kart 64 complete in box is $94.74. Mario Kart Super Circuit complete in box is $58.73. Double Dash complete in box is $65.25. Mario Kart Wii complete in box is $34.23.
Yeah, I had 64 and Double Dash flip-flopped. But other than that, I was pretty close on the other ones.
I highballed Wii. I think that's the only reason I was...
I think that's the best-selling indie game that wasn't a pack-in for the Wii.
Well, and it was also the best-selling Mario Kart game until
recently. Yeah, real recently. Nice. All right. So let me drag this note over here so that I can
The ghost didn't beat me that time.
Yeah, right. See two things at the same time. We've got Galaxy Wolf with a list. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. List is... Oh, he had a theme of collecting, but that's going to be next episode. But we're going to do your list this week, Galaxy Wolf. Sorry, things got a little messed up with the schedule, but we're doing your list. Here we go. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team for the Game Boy Advance, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team for the DS, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Darkness for the DS, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time for the DS, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Sky, Nintendo DS, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, complete Nintendo 3DS, complete in box. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon for the 3DS, complete in box. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team DX Nintendo Switch, complete in box. Wow. Okay. So I have a guess here. I guess I'll go first.
Go for it.
I've got $400.
I'm going to take 500.
Sam, 600?
No. I'm thinking 375.
Oh, lower than me. All right. Actual retail price is $379.67. Sam taking it. Nice. All right.
That's a long list.
I'm just gonna forego the word Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for this rundown, but here's the prices. Fair. Red Rescue Team is $122.92. Blue Rescue Team is $25.95. Explorers of Darkness is $22.24. These are all complete in box, by the way. Explorers of Darkness is $22.24. Explorers of Time is $27.72. Explorers of Sky is $96.52. Explorers Gates to Infinity is $22.99. Super Mystery Dungeon is $22.33, and Red Rescue Team DX is $39, bringing us to our $379.67. Ding. The theme is
interesting when the one version's much more valuable than the other.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. So weird. The theme is every game in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series, 8 games. Thank you, Galaxy Wolf. Thank you so much for making us do that.
I knew the two that were like around $100 were $100. I was thinking the other ones were going to be closer to $50 a pop, not 25.
Well, I kind of did like 50 for each DS game, 20, 30 for each.
Yeah, that was more game. My line of thinking. I knew they'd probably vary, but I figured I'd just try to hit the average.
Yeah, 96 for Explorers of Sky.
For each pair.
What's up with Explorers of Sky being $96?
I don't know, but I've looked it up somewhat recently because I seen it somewhere and it was outrageous. Somebody had $100 on it.
It looks like it went down recently because this. Yeah, okay. It was $96 like a couple weeks ago when he made this list.
What's it at now?
Hold on. Now it's at like 75. Yeah. So when he made the list, it was higher, dropped a bit. Because why? Because why? Because why is it 900? Why? Because it's Pokemon. That's why. All right. Second list we've got from our good friend Oops, community member Oops. Let's see here. See if I make sure we do this right. All right. So Price is Retro. Here's the list. We've got North and South for NES, loose. Digimon World PS1, complete. Guess there. Arc the Lad, Twilight of Spirits for complete for PS2. Rygar for the PS2, complete. Wade Hickston's Counterpunch, complete for the PS2. Wade Hickston's Counterpunch. I literally have no idea on that one. Okay. That's the deal.
I'm going to say 160.
160?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm at like 500 over here.
Is Digimon worth more than I think?
I don't know. I think a couple
I
of
have
these
no
are worth a
idea.
lot.
I'm at 225.
All right. Well, maybe either I'm a genius or an idiot, and we're about to find out. Okay. Total up. I'm an idiot. Total is 175.86.
So I was like,
I thought, okay, first of all, I thought North and South was at least $100 cartridge. Obviously,
sounds
it's
like
not.
a $50 game.
I mean, why did I think that? I don't know. Also, Arc the Lad, I thought was like really expensive.
$15.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll give you the prices. We've got, so the total again is 175.86. I'm such an idiot sometimes. North and South for the NES loose is $39.99. Digimon World for the PS1 complete is $56.50. Arc the Lad Twilight of Spirits complete is $9.77. I'm gonna look that up. There's something weird with that one. Rygar for the PS2 complete is $8.60. I got that one right. And Wade Hickston's Counterpunch complete for the PS2 is $61. Yeah, so I'm gonna look
high
up
for a PS2 game.
Arc the Lad.
Yeah, I'm actually. I initially was like, "Isn't Arc the Lad?" And then I'm like, "No, I think I've seen that, and it's not expensive."
Oh, bro. Okay,
it seems like one of those games.
No.
Be
Listen,
the expensive PS1 game.
Arc the Lad collection for the PS1 is $150. So that's where I was wrong.
Yeah, but this is the PS2 version.
But it's Arc. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so he says, oh, he's got to spot the fake too. Okay, so I'm not going to look at that yet. I'm going to add it to this list. And for spot the fake, we're going to try to get through these pretty quick. But we are not quite done with Price is Retro because we got to know who won, John. And I think I ruined my chances of winning just now. But who won?
Let's see here. With those two lists added on, it is Sam.
Hey.
It's been a while since I won.
Bringing it back, Sam.
I only won one round, though. That's the thing. But a lot of the rounds I didn't win, I was still close.
Very close, yeah.
Yeah, well, what killed us was Dan and I both guessed obscurely.
That's true. You guys
on
got burned on
the very first one. Yeah. We just never quite, because I mean, I was within $3 on 2 rounds. I just couldn't come back from that first one.
That's Price is Retro, and then I ruined it for myself on that last round horribly.
Yeah, you were at 630.98.
Yeah,
I was at 389.93. Sam was at 171.58. So Sam was really, really close,
bro.
And then the Ghost was at $447.37.
447. Okay, yeah. So you guys both
beat the ghost.
Poltergeist got me this week. He snatched me. I was grabbed by the poltergeist. So good. Okay, awesome. So here we go. We've got 4, count them, 4 Spot the Fake lists, because you guys apparently love this game. I'm happy to add it to the repertoire of games that we play on this podcast, because I love games. I love trivia. It's fun. And we're just going to start with Oops, because I'm already have his page open. Okay, Spot the Fake. Here we go. 4 games. I don't know what the winner is. That's all blurred out, so we're all going to play. We've got Samurai Pizza Cats, Digimon World Data Squad, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and Eternal Madness. One of these games is fake.
Eternal Madness.
You think Eternal Madness. All right, Sam, what do you think?
Well, I'm first going to our shows. The question is, were there games made based off those shows?
Part of me is like, I first thought Eternal Madness, that he was trying to like make an Eternal Darkness reference, but Eternal Madness might be a real thing that I just don't know about.
It's a mix between Eternal Darkness and Marble Madness.
It's a horror marble game. That actually would be a pretty cool
Maybe
mashup.
It's the long lost sequel to Eternal Eyes. I would play that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Samurai Pizza Cats. Sam, you go.
Well, so I know the show Samurai Pizza Cats, but was that ever made into a game?
When did it come
know
out?
that it was.
What time frame was that? Was that a show from your childhood?
I think it predates my childhood. Early 90s, maybe. Late 80s.
It was teenage. It was a TMA.
It's an example of a show that it came over. It was an anime. It came over. It was dubbed over, and they actually changed like a ton of stuff in the dub. Like it's almost like the animated equivalent of like Power Rangers. Super Sentai.
So that might be
like the dub is basically a new show. With heavy editing.
So that might be a Japanese game. Now I feel like it's real. So I'm going to change my answer to...
Well, the show is definitely real. I'm telling you that. I just don't know if there was ever a game.
I'm going to change my answer to Eternal Madness. I'm going with John on this one.
There are a lot of not released in America.
Sam, just tell me which game is fake.
Famicom games. What was the third one?
Okay, I'm going to say them again.
Persona 2.
Samurai Pizza Cats, Digimon World Data Squad, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, Eternal Madness.
Okay, I don't know the Persona series at all. I couldn't tell you if that was a fake installment. I'm going to go with Eternal Madness. I don't even know what that is.
All right. We all chose Eternal Madness. Real. Let's see it. Eternal Madness! I checked, but could have missed a game with that name. Hard to find a name that's not a game.
This is very true.
Not that hard. It's just that it's hard to find a game that like sounds like it's real, but it's not. Eternal Madness is a movie and a band. Yep, those two things, but not a video game, to my knowledge. Thank you, Oops, for both the Price is Retro and Spot the Fake submissions. Moving on to the next Spot the Fake, we've got one from the Ambassador, also known as Fight Crab Fanatic. He changes his name frequently, but we know him as the Ambassador. Here we go. 007 James Bond, The Duel. Fling Smash. Italian Wedding Soup Tycoon. And Barbie Dreamhouse Party. This one's a little obvious, I think, unless he's messing with us.
Third game.
Italian. The first two are definitely real. I think it's the third one.
Yeah, and Dreamhouse Party just sounds... Yeah, let's see.
That one could be fake.
Italian Wedding Soup Tycoon.
Like words you would throw together if you wanted to make up a Barbie game.
Yeah, it's Italian Wedding Soup Tycoon. I have the answer. And it is, in fact, Italian Wedding Soup Tycoon. It would be a nice little Cooking Mama ripoff, though, if they made something like that. I wouldn't mind that. Thank you, Ambassador. Better luck next time. Trying to fool the hosts here. All right, Flightsy. Flightsy did not send us a Prices Retro list, but he did send us another Spot the Fake. Let me just find his list here. Here we go. Okay. Mario Artist Paint Studio, Mario Artist Music Studio, Mario Artist Talent Studio, Mario Artist Polygon Studio.
Last one.
This is a good one because like
the other ones are Japanese games, I think, aren't they? For the
disc system.
64, disc.
Yeah, disc system, yeah. And
I'm not familiar with this series.
I like what he's doing here because I like the kind of making you think like, okay, I know Paint Studio is real and I know Music Studio is real.
Yep.
But I'm going back and forth on Polygon and Talent. Like what would Polygon Studio make sense that like you can make 3D images.
I think I remember Talent Studio as the game. I don't think they would have even called it a Polygon.
What do you do
Studio.
in Talent Studio though?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Like it's like I know that like making pop star stuff in Japanese games is a popular thing.
Yeah, I think you can I think I read somewhere that this is where they got the precursor design for the Mii's was from this.
Okay. Oh, okay. I vaguely remember that.
I could be totally wrong. Convincing.
But that could, here's my thing, John. That could also have been part of Music Studio.
I don't know. Let's do the deal and then we can look up.
I'm going to say Polygon Studio.
That's where I'm at.
You're at Polygon Studio's fake?
I'll agree with you, sure.
All right, let's see.
It's either that or Talent.
Mario Artist Music Studio. What? Bro, he hit us hard, man. I'm going to add extra text here so you can't measure the size of the title, blah, 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 blah. Talent Studio was described as the N64 DD's killer app by IGN. Mario Artist Communication Kit allowed you to share your creations online. Music Studio was fake. He got us. That was awesome. That was a great list. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I was right, that because if you look at the Talent Studio, it shows characters that look a lot like Mii's.
Yeah, look that up. That's crazy. No, Music Studio, man. Totally fooled us. I love that. All right, we have one more Guess the Fake. This comes to us from our good friend Liam from our own Retro Groove podcast. If you like old music, go listen to those guys. They talk about old music and it's awesome. Okay, here we go. 4 games. Appleseed, Oracle of Prometheus. Banana Prince. Cherry Blossom, Garden of Sinners. And Orange Pocket. Not Orange Game Boy Pocket, just Orange Pocket. All of these are fake.
Read those again.
He calls this a fruit salad. That's his note. Appleseed, Oracle of Prometheus, Banana Prince, Cherry Blossom, Garden of Sinners, and Orange Pocket. I'm leaning Orange Pocket on this one.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, but
I think it's Banana Prince.
You going Banana Prince? All right. let's see the answer here, because like Orange Pocket could be like an irritating stick thing where it's just a dumb name for a game that exists for some reason. Okay, here we go. The fake is Cherry Blossom, Garden of Sinners.
Of course.
Now what I'm going to do is Google Orange Pocket and see
what kind of game it is.
Well, now I'm getting a bunch of like t-shirts. Hold on.
Well, while you're looking that up, let me read this.
Oh, wait.
About
Orange
Talent Studio.
Pocket.
Let's just hope you don't stumble across any adult content Googling these things.
Yeah, this is an adult Japanese visual novel. but there is a video game for it. So it keeps with our theme for the episode, though. So that's good. Oh, and then Banana Prince. Did you know that Banana Prince was a real thing, Sam?
No, he thought that was
Oh, you said that was fake. Yeah. Banana Prince 2D platform game for the NES was released in Japan and never released stateside. Was released in Germany. Banana Prince looks like Mario 2. Looks a lot like Mario 2. Like, literally might be a Doki Doki Panic reskin.
Nice.
Wow. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Liam.
Let me read this about Talent Studio because I found what I was talking about. So it says, according to Shigeru Miyamoto, Talent Studio's direct descendant is a GameCube prototype called Debut, which I remember this too. It never made it. But it was going to use the Game Boy Advance's Game Eye camera peripheral in linking to the GameCube via a cable to map self-portraits of players onto their character models. It was publicly demonstrated with models of Miyamoto and eventual Nintendo president Satoru Iwata. It says it never was released. Its character design features became the Mii and the Mii channel and the features of the game such as Wii Tennis.
Bro.
I don't know where I've read this at or why I know this, but as soon as you said that game, I was like, I know exactly that. Yeah. I know that game is real.
I feel like I've heard that before as well. It wasn't like a hard memory, but I also feel like I heard that before. That's great. A little bit of history there. See, this is why we come to RetroLogic, is we learn stuff. We're learning together. If you want to submit either a Price is Retro list or a Spot the Fake game, all you have to do is DM me. DM me on Twitter, DM me in Discord. And that's it. And I will give you instructions. Don't just send me the list because I have to give you instructions first. So just tell me, hey, I want to submit a list. Then I'll give you instructions. Then you can submit. But that's as simple as that. And we pretty much hit every list that gets sent to us in the week. So at this point, you're guaranteed to be in the episode. That might change in the future if we get like 100 lists or something. But for now, that's how it's going. So that is how we play our games. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hit our show topic, which has some adult content. So you may want to turn the podcast off if you have little ears around, or if it's not something you were interested in. That's fine. Totally fine with that also. But either way, we will be back. Whether you will be back is yet to be seen. Welcome back. We're about to hit our hot topic for this week. Made that joke during the break and it landed pretty hard in my brain. Don't know if it landed with you, but I feel like it landed. So just another quick warning. We are going to be talking about some adult themes in this podcast episode. We don't normally do that. I try to keep it pretty family friendly around here, but this particular topic will have some adult themes. So it's up to you whether you want little ears around to hear it. So you should probably turn it off now if you don't want to hear it, because we are about to talk about mature content in video games. So released today, 19 years ago, November 29th, 2002, BMX XXX launched on the GameCube to everyone's surprise. Why would you put BMX XXX on the GameCube? I don't know. It was on all the other consoles, but the GameCube seems like a weird place to put a game.
To be honest, why would you put it anywhere?
With like pole dancing stripper cutscenes in that game. But that's true. Why would you put it in any game? It was not very well made. But it did have TNA, which is why people bought it. So we have a couple games that we're going to hit real quick. And then we've got a bunch of community submissions for a question that I asked. So first off, we've got this developer Mystique, who is famous for developing adult content video games. Some of its more famous games on the Atari 2600 are the infamous Beat 'em and Eat 'em, a game called Bachelor Party with a very risque cover, and Custer's Revenge.
This the Atari 2600, the cover was the only thing that could be risque. You're not going to have anything going on in the game.
Hey, you had some pretty full frontal nudity in very pixelated square form.
There's 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Guess what those are?
Very large square shapes on your TV. But I mean, you know what? Back then, people had to figure out how to make interactive adult video games, I suppose. That's something that people wanted to buy.
Somebody was look at the cubes on that gal.
Yeah. The other home console games that are pretty famous are, we have NES games, Bubble Bath Babes, Hot Slots, and Peekaboo Poker. Which even
I don't know any of these games.
They're pretty expensive now. Like I think they fetch a pretty penny. Let me look one up. Actually, I meant to look up the pricing on these before the episode.
Well, especially at a time when games were mostly still marketed to kids.
Yeah.
And in a physical only environment where most sales were happening at retail stores, a retail store is like, I can't even put that on my shelf. You know?
Yeah, these are probably high dollar because of their low prints and just did sell very well, probably.
Well, and Bubble Bath Babes has a pretty risque cover. And it is a $1,700 cartridge.
Oh, good gosh.
It's not even complete. That's just the cartridge. And I want to say these are all the same developer.
Probably.
You couldn't buy them in stores. You had to like order them. Yeah, all these have pretty risque covers. Hot Slots, $1,300. And then the last one is Peekaboo Poker. So when I worked for a retro game store back in the day, yeah, Peekaboo Poker is another $1,700. Less risque cover though, much more cartoony. We actually, somebody traded in like a bunch of NES games, and we had Peekaboo Poker. Not Peekaboo Poker. We had Bubble Bath Babes was the one. And so we were like, oh man, like let's put it in the system and see what it's like. And it, like we were joking about it on the Atari, but even on the NES, you really got to stretch your imagination to see anything going on the screen. Like it was very crude. It was very crude.
I imagine there was more of this going on in Japan than there was here.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I don't have any of that information here. Everything I'm talking is North America. But yeah, I'm sure that was much more widely accepted in Japan.
I love your note that no adult games for Genesis, Super Nintendo, or N64.
Not that I could find. Like,
and my example of the question you asked later will come from the N64, and that's Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yeah, I guess I was talking about like these kinds of like purely adult development.
Well,
like,
there's like a scene in Conker's Bad Fur Day where there's like a flower and. Yeah, with you guys know what I'm talking about.
Pretty well endowed flower.
Yeah, well endowed flower.
Yeah.
And then you use her as a like a trampoline to get up to a platform you can't reach. It's like,
oh my gosh!
Hey, Stretch Panic is still rated T for teen, and if you've seen that
you were talking about that one.
Yeah. The other thing that we need to talk about before we get into polygons is FMVs. And like Night Trap for the Sega CD, it doesn't get like, there's no like full frontal or anything, but like there's a lot of like college age girls running around in their underwear type thing, like, you know, and that's all just video, you know, FMV. So like very low quality video, but it's video nonetheless. And then there were a couple other games for Sega CD that were much more like explicitly adult stuff. I'm trying to remember. I couldn't remember what they were. I didn't want to dig too far into that rabbit hole on Google. So, and then we'll talk about that later. But yeah, like, I just think it's funny that there's kind of this weird cutoff with this genre. Like after the NES, like there's nothing on the Super Nintendo really. Like nothing on the Genesis, and then the N64. Like you mentioned, Conker's Bad Fur Day, but that's all still very cartoony. There's nothing like explicitly meant to be a realistic like adult content type video.
Yeah, but I think it was the only game on the N64 that received the, what was it, an NC-17 rating?
Oh,
AO,
yeah. Adult only.
NC-17's for movies.
Oh, yeah.
AO is the ESRB. Adult only.
Adults
I don't
only.
think
Yeah,
it got...
was M.
No, I think it was still
just
M.
though.
I think it was still just
No,
M.
I just
other...
know it says on the cartridge you have to be 18 to buy it or whatever.
Well, that's because they wanted to make sure people knew this is not a kid's game, even though it looks like one.
Yeah, I think that's just part of the advertising.
That too. But
it could be.
Did it like adult only games are like the Hot Coffee mod, Grand Theft Auto, and like the Guy game, which we can talk about. I actually have a story about that game. If you guys know anything about the Guy game, what it is it's essentially like a trivia game where like Girls Gone Wild style, like if you get the games right, women take off their clothes. And it was actually developed by a studio here in Austin. So like we got a couple copies into the Game Crazy I was working at. And then probably like a few months after it was released, actually, before I get to that, while I was working there, one of the developers came in and bought a copy, and he was like, it's really hard to find these. Like, and I don't know why, but like he was happy that we had one. He went to another Game Crazy, saw we had one, drove over, and was talking about developing it. And then a couple months later, it came out that like one of the girls that they hired, which is it's like FMV, like it's real video of these girls doing these things, turned out to be 17. So they had to like pull all the copies off of shelves. We had to pull our remaining copy off the shelf and like send it back or destroy it. And so I think that game is pretty expensive now because of that. But that's my story about the Guy game. Oh man, like just horrible. Here it is. Okay, it's actually not that expensive. PS2 and Xbox, they both go for around $75. Which I guess is pretty expensive for an Xbox game. But like, yeah, that's a thing.
And a PS2 game.
That's a thing. Why does it exist? I don't know. And then we already talked about BMX XXX. We've got, stuff like Leisure Suit Larry, there's like a ton of like that kind of stuff on PC that I'm totally not aware of. You had Playboy the Mansion, which didn't have any full frontal, but it was still like polygonal, kind of cartoony, more like caricature women, scantily clad. And then just now you have stuff like The Witcher and other video games where it's just like, no, this just has straight up like full frontal nudity, polygonal stuff that looks real because it's all in modern graphics. So that's like very short, incomplete history of like some of the adult content in video games. But there's also stuff that's just kind of like, that's like explicitly designed for adult stuff, but there's also stuff that's just kind of like blood and Mortal Kombat, or like the Gentleman's Club scenes in Duke Nukem, where it's like, these are in the game, but that's not like why the game exists, So the question that I submitted to the community was, did you have an experience with a video game where you had like a feeling of like, ooh, should I be watching this? Or like, oh, I hope mom doesn't walk in right now. And can you remember a time like that? Or if that didn't happen, is there a game that you're playing now that you would not play in front of your kids for one reason or another? And so I have some community submissions, but I want to hear from you guys first. If you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think I brought it up before. I was sheltered as a kid.
Right.
I know we're gonna have people listening that's like, you weren't sheltered. You went to public school. But like, I don't know many other people that were kept from playing games that were rated T for teen when they were 10. I was. So that's kind of the frame of mind I'm working from here.
Your parents actually followed the ESRB? Weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's what it's for.
I mean, not slavishly, but I mean, so to the point, I can remember actually having, and I successfully did appeal Super Smash Bros. Melee. And this is the reason why I know Super Smash Bros. Melee was in fact rated T for teen. It's the only game in the Smash Bros. Series to be rated that high. An interesting case of how standards have changed, because you compare that to Smash Bros. Ultimate, which has Bayonetta in it and has Pyra Mithra in it.
Yeah, it could still be considered everyone.
That is rated E10 and up.
Yeah.
But Melee, for whatever reason, got a T rating, and I just told my parents, like, I think this is kind of dumb. It's cartoon violence, comic mischief. I think I should be allowed to play it. And they're like, yeah, you're fine. Because I was like 11 at the time anyway.
I could see 11-year-old Sam with like a full wrote out like petition saying that he should be able to play this game, going to your parents.
Yep.
Weird.
I stayed all the obvious.
I mean, like, so like GoldenEye was a game I wasn't allowed to play.
Yeah.
We didn't have it. And I did play it at a friend's house, and I was somewhat aware that I shouldn't be, according to my parents. It wasn't like a huge deal, but because at that level, the thing they were really worried about was violence. Like, the two things they were looking out for were like no blood, no swearing. We don't want to hear you repeating things, and we don't want you getting super fascinated by blood. We just don't want to deal with that. So,
right. And I mean, that's
until you're older,
a reasonable concern for any parent.
Yeah, and I mean,
I wouldn't say you were sheltered, Sam. I just feel like your parents actually followed through on like things that they believed in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because I remember an instance where like my school had this this like mentoring program. It didn't even last very long. I don't even remember what I was doing there, but like they matched up older students from the middle school with like third graders, and we were supposed to help them on a project or something. And I remember I was just trying to like get to know this kid. And I was like, oh, you like playing video games? I do too. What's your favorite game? And he's like, oh, Grand Theft Auto. And I'm like, oh, I'm not allowed to play that. This is weird.
Oh
I'm like
gosh.
15 and you're and you're like 9 or something, and you're playing the game I'm not allowed to play.
Dude, that is hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I think my parents didn't really put any hard and fast like rules as far as I remember on us. And like, so when I was, but I'm older than you. So when they were still buying me video games, it was N64 era. And I had an N64, and like, they didn't really. How old was I when the N64 came out? 96. So I was 11. So like, they didn't really care about GoldenEye. Like, I had already probably watched James Bond, so they were like, whatever, you can play GoldenEye. And I don't know if they're like, are there any M-rated games on the N64 besides Conker's Bad Fur Day? Is that the only one?
Is Duke Nukem rated M?
Now I'm going to look it up. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, there's a few of them, like Biofreaks, Carmageddon, Doom 64.
Oh, Carmageddon,
yeah.
I had that on PC.
All the Mortal Kombats are. Perfect Dark was rated M. Interesting. Quake, Resident Evil.
Perfect Dark was M.
Shadow Man, none of the South Parks. Like, and like, they bought me Turok too. They probably were either just really aloof, or we're just kind of like, yeah, it's fine, because it's like, oh, dinosaurs, yeah, whatever. And so I guess they just didn't really care. Not that I was like interested in horror or fighting games, so nothing back then that was considered the most like, the most risque was something that I even really wanted to play. I mostly just wanted to play Smash Brothers, Mario 64, Star Fox, so like they didn't care. So I had the occasional like Turok, but whatever. And then I had I had an older brother too. So like he would go buy Turok, and like, what are my parents going to do? You know, he bought it. So they were pretty hands off with that kind of stuff, I guess. They lucked out because I didn't care. I didn't like want to play any of that. And then once the GameCube came out, I was what? 16, 17? And by that time I was buying my own games and stuff. So they didn't, you know, what are they going to do? So, I guess I lucked out with my age, honestly, with that. Grand Theft Auto wasn't even a thing. I didn't have a PS2. So like that was never a concern for us. And even today, like my wife doesn't play video games. But me and my 6-year-old will play Switch, like we'll play games, and she has no concern because really I just want to play Zelda. Like I have no like I like Borderlands, and I'm obviously not going to play that with my 6-year-old, but like I'm happy just playing Zelda, Metroid, Mario, Donkey Kong. Like that's what I like to play. So
yep.
I didn't ever have that much of an interest in it. Now, that's not to say that like, so on that like note, I remember having feelings playing Star Fox Adventure for a certain Blue Fox, who, if you know anything about me on Twitter, you know that I'm not a furry, but you know, Crystal Fox exists. So, but I can't think of any examples where I was like, oh, I hope my parents don't walk in playing a video game, because most of the time there wasn't anything like that on screen. But there are definitely things today that I play that I would not want my kids at their current ages to be playing at all, you know, namely like Borderlands, The Witcher, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty obvious.
Well, I will say, even on the like PG-13, T for teen end of the spectrum,
yeah,
I have always felt kind of weird playing fighting games in front of my parents, because every fighting game has one character that's built around sex appeal.
At least one.
Yeah.
And it always seemed unnecessary to me.
I guess Soul Calibur 2 was another one where it was like, oh, like a lot of these women are not wearing very much. And I don't want mom to come down while I'm playing as Taki, one of them. I think it was Taki or something like that. I'm trying to remember the names of fighters in Soul Calibur 2. I haven't touched that game in 20 years. But yeah, totally. Fighting games are notorious for that. Absolutely. John, you've been silent.
Yeah, so I kind of talked about mine earlier, but yeah, playing Conker's Bad Fur Day. I didn't know why the game earned a mature rating.
How old were you playing it? When did that come out? That'd be 2000, 2001, right? 2000?
2001. So yeah, I was like 16.
Yeah.
15, 16. I definitely wasn't the 17 age rating. And I remember being at a buddy's house, and we talked his mom into renting it for us, and had no idea what we were getting into, how much of a joy that game was. I
mean, the opening scene, he's like hung over and like drinking too much.
Oh yeah, the whole game is hilarious, just the things that happen. But I mean, it earns its mature rating, probably more so than like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark or Turok or any of those games. Maybe not Duke Nukem. I also played Duke Nukem 64, and I was probably not of age to be playing Duke Nukem 64 when it came out, because that was like probably like 98, 99. But again, I didn't even have it in 64 until way later. So a lot of this was happening at friends' houses. Similar to Sam's situation, you're at a buddy's house and he's playing GoldenEye, and you're like, well, I don't have this game, and I don't know what my parents would say, but my parents aren't here right now to ask, so I'm going to play GoldenEye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Conker's an interesting one, because I can actually remember like the early Conker game was like shown in Nintendo Power, and I remember actually like looking forward to it, you know, when it was just basically Conker. Another Banjo-Kazooie. And I was like, yeah, this looks great. I like Banjo-Kazooie. I like Donkey Kong. I like Conker Kong Racing. And then it comes out and I'm like, oh, this is a game that's not for me.
It's crazy.
I was really disappointed by that. I think that's the other side of it, because I lived through a lot of that like marketing push for like, oh, games aren't just for kids anymore. And I was like, but I'm still a kid. I want games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conker's Bad Fur Day is a really weird one. It's not weird that it exists. Like, it's a really good game. It's weird in the choice they made to make that game what it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very good platformer. The story is even good. There's lots of things inside of it that make it questionable, like for kids to play. Obviously,
the multiplayer is
the
amazing.
multiplayer is fantastic.
And like these days, it does have a lot of like really problematic, weird, sexist stuff in it. So like, you know, take that game with a huge grain of salt. Like it was the 2000s or like 90s and 2000s.
Yeah. And I mean, it has a lot of British humor in it.
Back when video games were for boys. And you kind of brought that up last episode, John.
It's relying on all that just for shock value.
Right.
Of, you know, because it was so much the expected thing, it'd be another cutesy mascot platform. And that's really what, especially when you're talking about just explicitness of content.
Totally.
Versus maybe even mature themes then it's just for shock value, which I've always said doesn't really add anything to a game.
No, I mean,
some people disagree, and I'm, to be clear, I'm talking about explicitness, not necessarily mature themes on their own, because you can deal with very mature themes in a way that's not explicit, and I do still think you probably don't want to put that in front of kids either.
No.
It's a judgment call, because sometimes when it's all subtext, it's just going to go over their heads anyway, but you know,
not always.
Still.
And like, I agree with you, but like also when it's there, like Conker's Bad Fur Day is very self-aware. They know exactly what they're doing. They chose their humor explicitly. Whether they pulled it out or not, is up to, you know, the beholder. But they certainly knew what they were doing. You know, and it was it was a comedy choice that they made. So let's get into some of these. Oh, first, John, are there games, like, where do you stand on, like, what do you let your kids play and not play based on their ages? Like, and what do you play that you don't let your kids play?
Well, kind of like what you said, like with The Witcher, I would never let my kids play The Witcher. I've lucked out because even though my son's 12, he hasn't really asked to play a whole lot of games that I wouldn't let him play.
Yeah. That's good.
Most of the things that I worry about with my kids playing is that they're just not playing online with people that I don't know, you know?
Yeah, these days.
Things of that nature. I'm not worried about his content as much. Like, he plays Ark Survival, which can be a little gory, but there's no real like adult themes. There's not even really blood. Like, it's just you killing dinosaurs for the most part. Mm-hmm. So stuff like, I mean, it's basically like a grown up Minecraft, but without anything too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that's probably about the worst that he wants to play. And like I said, it's mostly violence. He's never really asked me to play anything crazy. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of years.
How old is he?
12.
Okay. Yeah. Then, I mean,
like, he hasn't even asked to play Grand Theft Auto. Like, I was waiting for that one to pop up because that's usually the big one that, you know, kids his age do play it, you know.
And I guess it kind of depends on like temperament, you know, and like what they're into. Like,
oh yeah,
he plays a lot of like like Roblox and Minecraft and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, my kid's a nerd. He plays Minecraft and he's a robotics student, and like, he doesn't.
So
he's just not interested yet.
So like, I'm not a fan of labels per se, but Grand Theft Auto is kind of one of those games that like, how do I say this? I'm just going to piss people off, whatever. Grand Theft Auto is like a game that like anybody who, like any guy who just like wants a video game to play would play. You know, it's like Call of Duty. It's like Madden.
No, there's a reason why
right?
It's the highest selling video game.
Yeah.
Well, it's well known at the very least. So,
and like, it's not even that it's
know a lot of games. You'll think about it or try it.
It's not even that it's like well known or like it's because like Minecraft is well known, but like that's a very different audience. Playing Grand Theft Auto,
it's the
Madden,
second best-selling video game.
Yeah, like it's a very different audience. Grand Theft Auto is a very different audience. It's like the same audience as Madden and Call of Duty, where it's like I want to play something and it has to be good and this is famous, so I'm going to play it. Whereas like Minecraft, Roblox, most Nintendo games, it's like, oh, I'm much more interested in like what this game is doing philosophically than just something to play. So I don't know if I'm insulting anyone. I'm sure that there are people that fall into both categories. I'm just telling you what it seems like to me, and which is probably why your son is much more into Minecraft than he is Grand Theft Auto. Just from, knowing you and your son.
I see that. I mean, I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto as a teenager.
Yeah.
Like the original series. I even had 1 and 2 on PC at some point, which are not bad. If you're gonna let your kids play Grand Theft Auto, 1 or 2 is probably safe, I would say.
Yeah, these days.
Yeah. And but yeah, I played a lot of 3 as a teenager when it came out at buddies' houses. And I mean, there's definitely, it goes beyond what a lot of games do with themes, There's definitely a lot of things you can do in that game that kids don't really they don't need to be a part of yet. Probably not ever.
Yeah,
Most people don't need to be a part of that ever. It just happens.
And that's why it's a video game. We don't have to be a part of it. You play the video game instead. So I asked the same question, that feeling of like, oh, should I be watching this? Or I hope mom doesn't walk in. I asked that to our community, got a lot of responses. We're going to burn through some of these before we wrap up our topic for the week. So boo. Starting with Flightsy. He says, this one's kind of tough to answer. I'm not sure I've ever played a game that was mature in that way. And nowadays, I'm too old to be shocked if I did. I remember mom thought Super Smash Bros. Brawl was distastefully violent, but I remember thinking she was being ridiculous, especially compared to what else is out there. So that's similar to Sam's experience with Melee.
I mean, yeah, it actually went down back to E10 and up after Melee's T for Teen.
He also talked about, instead of video games, he used to watch a YouTuber called SMG4 on YouTube, and he'd have some more like adult funny themes in his videos, and his parents had more problem with that than they did with any of the video games he was playing. We've got a message here from Oops. It says, I had that moment when I was in college. I came home for Christmas vacation already 60 plus hours into Persona 3. Never really noticed anything until my mom came in to talk to me and they were shooting themselves in the head. And it never crossed my mind until that moment. So I've never played Persona 3. Does anybody know what he's talking about?
No.
I believe that's how they summon their personas.
Oh,
they use a device that looks like a gun and they point it at their own head.
Yeah, I could see that. Nintendo Man 89 says, I don't have memory of feeling like I should be playing something in gaming. My parents were surprisingly open about games and let me play a lot of things. My dad had a decent NES and Genesis collection growing up. I was born in 1990 and had access to Mortal Kombat 3 on Genesis, Cliffhanger, and I played them a lot. Heavy on the violence and blood was never an issue. The first time I remember being an issue for my family was South Park game on the N64, which is one of the M-rated games. My mom wouldn't let me rent it, but when I did play it at a friend's house, I didn't feel like I shouldn't be playing it. So South Park was kind of infamous for that. It's like parents didn't want their kids. It looks kind of like Conker's Bad Fur Day. Like it looks like it's fine, but it certainly has adult themes in it and lots of cussing. Solo Something comes to us and says, my first experience of seeing true violence I felt was playing Mortal Kombat when it first came out. It was not my thing, so I went back to Street Fighter. I can't recall Can't recall scantily dressed ladies. I just know it was later. I was not shocked, as I already had the kid experience of finding my dad's Playboy mag with Madonna on it when I was a youngster in the 80s. Most of my parented video game years were Atari and NES, so my material alone was sheltered time in video games. Yeah, unless you played Bubble Bath Babes. Yeah. Hambone Johnny comes to us and says, Mortal Kombat is a great call out. I agree. My parents let me rent it, but weren't all too happy about it when they saw it on the TV. I'd say another one would be WrestleMania 2000 with the female wrestlers. Definitely had a few moments where I was like, oh, hope mom doesn't walk in right now. Yeah. We've got Laugher, who says, I don't remember having that feeling when I was at home, but my first game I remember playing as an adult with young kids, I thought, I should only play this game when they're in beds. And that was Dante's Inferno on the PS3.
Odd that he didn't talk about Leisure Suit Larry.
I know. I'm kind of surprised.
Where his handle comes from.
He's a fan. Chris HL94 says, as a teenager, I had a PC copy of Leisure Suit Larry. There it is. And I was worried my parents would walk in on me playing. Yeah. That's a big one. Eric Plunk says, I never had that moment growing up. Mortal Kombat 2 is probably the only M-rated game I had growing up. Fatalities were such a pain to pull off. There really wasn't much danger of my parents seeing anything risque. It was more of a challenge in the PS3 Xbox era to play M-rated games around my daughter's sleep/school schedule. Yeah, so we got a lot of dads in the group talking about, the Switch makes it easy because I can go take it somewhere. But yeah, having a big TV in the living room makes it hard to, when can I play, Grand Theft Auto? LDP, also known as Liam D from the Retro Groove podcast, with us again. He says, my grandma saw me playing Duke Nukem 3D on my family's PC, told my mom I was looking at porn. Because he was in the gentleman's club scene with the dancers. So... That's pretty rough. Adrock says, I never ended up playing it, but every time I went to Outback Video, which was our local video rental place, I'd always sneak a peek at Bubble Bath Babes for the NES. Oh, yeah. I remember.
Should have rented that one and never brought it back.
Well, I'm pretty sure the guy there wouldn't have let us rent it. He was kind of a stickler.
Yeah.
Spider Shan says, Mortal Kombat. How do I read this? Mortal Kombat. Just because my parents told me they wouldn't approve, even though I hadn't asked. Of course, my friend and I then had to try it. We were already 13 when it came out, so we had already seen worse R-rated movies. He got his older sister to rent it for us. My buddy got really into it and could do all the fatalities, but I wasn't good at all. Even though I couldn't have the game, we did somehow end up with Killer Instinct. Still don't recall how we got it, and I always made sure to look around to see if anyone was watching when doing Orchid's move, where she flashes her opponent. You don't see anything, but it was very obvious what she was doing. That's pretty funny.
I remember that now.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for submitting those comments, and thank you for listening. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I've got just one community couch question, then we're going to wrap things up. We're almost through. Thanks for sticking with us. See you in a minute. Welcome back. Just a quick reminder about Retro Rewind. Again, we are taking a break. It will return in 2022. In the meantime, make sure you're getting ready for ODAMA-RAMA in January. Pick up a copy of ODAMA and a GameCube microphone and start your playthrough in January. Or ask for Christmas. That's a good idea. It's a very specific thing people can probably find. And brand new copies of this game are only like $60. So if you want to go that route, I think so. I think it should still be.
It is the finest real-time strategy pinball game you will ever play.
Or
Be
only
a pinball wizard.
Exactly. So it's only a 6-hour game according to the one person who posted on How Long to Beat. So we have to get a few more numbers up there. Questions from the community couch. Here we are on the community couch. Liam says to not reach into the cushions this week based on our topic. So we're going to go ahead and
follow suit with that.
We're just going to sit. I've got some water and some NyQuil. Our question this week comes from Fight Crab Fanatic, also known as the Ambassador. He says, which series needs to be adapted by the Switch right now? We've got WWE Day of Reckoning 1 and 2, Tekken 456, Far Cry 345, SSX 123, or Time Splitters 123. What do you guys think?
I don't have as much real experience with this series, but I think SSX I think that fills something the Switch doesn't really have in a way these other games don't.
Man, remember when snowboarding games was like such a thing? Like there were tons of them.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Yeah. Dark Summit, 1080. Yeah. SSX.
Well, I hate to break this to you guys, but SSX is an EA game. So
yeah.
Probably not coming to the Switch.
That's rough.
If I had to pick from this list, I would say Time Splitters.
It's an easy Time Splitters for me. I don't care about any of these other games at all. Not a little bit.
I've enjoyed Tekken, but it's not my favorite fighting game. I definitely prefer the 2D fighters over the 3D fighters.
Like if I had to choose a second place, maybe Far Cry. Like maybe, but even that's like I probably wouldn't even buy that. Like I would spend $60 on Time Splitters 1, 2, and 3 on a cartridge right now.
If I had to add my own series to the list, it would be the Gauntlet series.
Yeah,
like the Legends, the 3D series,
Legends and Dark Legacy. Get all of them on there.
Yeah. It's a shame that we don't have remakes of those or ports.
For real, dude. That's
so good. So good.
That's a good. What about you, Sam? What's a collection you would want to see on the Switch?
Oh, I've been waiting for Megaman Battle Network for them, just because at this point, I'm kind of surprised they haven't brought the entire Mega Man franchise over. You can buy a lot of Mega Man games on Switch, but Battle Network's missing.
Yeah, that's weird because those did not sell well.
I feel like it's on the way.
Yeah.
You can buy all those Mega Man
you look
games
at the prices of them now. The prices have gone up a ton.
Yeah.
Of the Game Boy Advance games. And usually, I mean, the thing is we complain about the prices, but I think people holding the rights are aware, and those games that are valuable often do get re-released because they do notice people want them.
Yeah, the demand is there.
It just doesn't happen immediately.
For sure.
But
where's my Mario RPG?
I would love to see more obscure stuff. Like I'd love to see a lot of the backlog of Enix, which we have seen. Like we got ActRaiser remade, not even just re-released, but remade.
Oh, I gotta find that one.
I'd love to see like Enix's stuff, like the Quintet games, or stuff like Robotrek, or all those RPGs that kind of just didn't have the audience when they came out.
John, you said Mario RPG. I would be down for like Mario RPG Paper Mario Collection. Just Mario RPG and
Paper Mario is coming to the N64 app.
1,000 Year Door.
So that's a start.
That's true.
I mean, where's my Ogre Battle? That's Enix. Let's do this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anything on the Enix side of Square. We've gotten Final Fantasy plenty of times. I don't even care about the pixel remasters on Switch. Give me the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, we've had those plenty of times. I've got a bunch of stuff I would like to see, like I just want to see like some of the weird treasure stuff, like Mischief Makers and all that stuff. I can't think of another one right now, but Mischief Makers for sure. And then
Mischief Makers needs to come to that N64 app. And I think there's a lot of people who haven't played it before that would like it.
That's going to be one of those like, what's this crap? And everybody's going to be like, no, it's good. Play it. Things that would never happen in a million years because it's like a Sony property, but like, I want an Ape Escape collection. Where's my Ape Escape collection? I'd pay good money for that.
Is that developed by Sony or just published by Sony?
I'm pretty sure they own the IP. So
and I never thought we'd get a Crash trilogy, so never say
yeah, I mean, that's not, that's true. But
that's Naughty Dog, which is owned by PlayStation.
Yeah, something where
he was literally the mascot that was standing outside the Nintendo headquarters with a megaphone.
I would like also something like a really big, and I've talked about this before, Shining collection, because there's a lot of games in that series that are not directly tied to like a numbered series, but they're part of the franchise.
Shining in the Darkness.
Yeah, Shining in the Darkness.
I just bought it on Genesis. It hasn't made it here yet, but I bought it.
That's one that I streamed for a little bit there. That was a fun little first-person RPG. I liked it a lot. But yeah, all those games. Shining in the Darkness, Shining Force, Shining stuff, all the Saturn games. There's a lot of them, and they're very expensive, and like, I think people would be interested in those. Also, portable Zelda games. Please. Minish Cap. Spirit Tracks. That's what I want.
Yeah, Ape Escape is definitely a Sony property. Yeah. So you're definitely...
Never happening.
Not... Yeah, I mean, at least release it on the PlayStation.
I might buy a PS5 just for that. So keep that in mind, Sony, as you're listening to my podcast. Yeah, so that just about does it for this week, you guys. Topping us out just under 2 hours here, 1 hour 45. So pretty good episode. I hope I feel better next week, because right now I'm like, bleh. And my voice has changed. I can feel my voice is in a lower register now than it was when we started. And so I'm gonna go to bed. What are you guys gonna do?
I'm gonna buy Ape Escape 2 on PS4.
You jerk. What do you say, Sam?
I will also go to bed.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
Maybe. So I have this joke with my wife where sometimes I'll be like, hey, do you want to stay up all night and watch movies? Just because like that's something you used to do when you were younger. And like, she always says no, but I'm hoping maybe one of these days I could convince her. Like maybe when the kids are older and we don't have to like, change diapers first thing in the morning.
And then you'll realize that you're old and you fall asleep 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. That's true too.
My parents fall asleep watching movies like all the time.
Ain't that just
they make fun of me for just saying I'm going to bed? Like I stayed at their place Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I went to bed at 10:30 and they were making fun of me for being the old man that goes to bed at 10:30 when they're still awake. And I'm like, you're going to fall asleep during this movie. So I'm just going to, sleep in a bed, not the living room couch.
So true. So true. Yeah. Well, speaking of bed, I'm going to put this episode to bed. John, Sam, thanks for joining me again. And you, listener, thanks for listening. And thanks for being awesome. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at RetroLogic Games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and non-toxic Discord community. The link to this is in my Twitter bio, also on the website, which is retrologic.games, where you can get everything. You can get the blog, which Sam works hard on. You can get our other podcast, Retro Groove. You can get merch, all the things. Lots of cool stuff happening over there, so check that out. And that is that. So we will see you guys next week.
Bye now.
Goodbye.
I have my toilet paper here. Not
I
for
usually
going,
have that around here too.
not for going to the bathroom. This is for blowing my nose mid episode. Got my water, which I'm going to take a swig of now before we start. Hopefully that'll mitigate any coughing that might happen. But otherwise, you know,
I have
okay.
teas today, but it's crappy tea. It's Taco Bell, half sweet, half unsweet, black, maybe black tea.
That's not good for your voice.
No,
Better than the rest of the Taco Bell.
You take that back. Taco Bell is delightful.
My wife.
Yeah, it's just not good for you in any sense of the word.
That's her like craving go to when she's pregnant is Taco Bell. She likes bean burritos.
It's good for your soul, Sam. Okay. What's good for the soul is good for the body.
I do actually enjoy Taco Bell quite a bit.
Yeah.
Too.
See, everybody likes Taco Bell, but everybody's like embarrassed to admit it.
Some people just don't like Taco Bell. Like my daughter, every time we tell her we're going to be eating Taco Bell that night, it just like breaks her soul. Whatever I tell her.
No, she's not ordering the right thing. Get her a chalupa.
Well, she's 9, so if it's not a grilled cheese, you're breaking her.
And a Bahama. They have a grilled cheese burrito now.
Yeah, a grilled cheese burrito's back, man.
Yeah, but it's got other stuff in it. It's not just grilled cheese.
Most of their menu is the same ingredients, just combined slightly differently.
Yeah, I mean, I know they have a grilled cheese burrito because I ate one tonight.
Dude, I miss the Cheeto burrito. That thing was better than it had any right to be.
The Cheeto burrito.
Yeah, it had Cheetos in it. It had like just the right amount of crunch, you know?
Did it have crunchy Cheetos or the puff?
They were crunchy, but because they were in the burrito, they kind of soaked in some of the stuff.